Everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So I wanted to do a review of today. There was a few that caught my eye. So we had a couple of nice winners, but that's no good if you're listening to this video. There's no point talking about winners. Let's talk about those that ran well in behind. Let's talk about those that could go on and win again. Or if we did get it right, the form of that race I like to continue following, as in I like to say, I think the second or the third are worth keeping in mind, because I back myself. I back my own ability to know what can win a race, and hopefully, if they are winning, then we are on the right lines. So let's start off with talking about a horse that doesn't have anything to do with any of our winners. And that is Oops. Go back and watch Oops running in the first race at Newmarket. Really eye-catching she was. She finished really strongly, and I know Jabara looked impressive. I think Oops will turn out to be almost as good, if not just as, if not better. I'm going to actually say that, if not better than Jabara. And I'm just turning down my phone because I don't need any messages come through. Yeah, I was really taken by the run of Oops, and I think she's definitely worth putting in your Nagme. She's the type of horse that could pop up in a little maiden somewhere before heading to Royal Ascot off the back of a couple of good runs. So yeah, I was really impressed with Oops, the way she finished her race off. The second race that I wanted to talk about was the 150, and I think we might end up with a short price Royal Ascot favourite and probably winner for Godolphin from this race. So Noble Style didn't stay the soft ground Guineas trip, but then I think found the 6 furlongs, the back to 6 furlongs at Newbury too sharp. He's going to go up to 7, isn't he? And when he does, he'll be their runner in the Jersey Stakes. And to be honest, I mean, they won it last year. And if you actually look at the Jersey Stakes last year and look at the R figures, they were happy running a horse with significantly better R figures in the Jersey Stakes. I think they'll do that again with Noble Style. I think he'll be the one that ends up in the Jersey. Interestingly, they just gelded Noble Style here. He is still a colt. I wonder whether they might geld him going into the Jersey Stakes. But yeah, he's the one that I actually think. I think he'll end up still being the best horse in the race. He just doesn't have the speed for 6, and I totally understand why they tried the Guineas trip now. Maybe he'd shown that at home that he wasn't quick enough over 5 and 6, and they tried dropping back, thinking maybe what we're seeing at home isn't right. But I think he'll go back up to, or he'll go up to 7 now, and he'll be in the Jersey Stakes. The next race and horse I wanted to highlight was in the 205 at Newmarket, and this is Totnes, a very lightly raced filly for Andrew Balding. I thought she'd run a really good race here for 4th, because the race has collapsed from the front. Chelsea Green just bring it in Gulmarg with the back 3 with about a furlong to go, or a furlong and a half to go. Totnes was more prominent than what the write-ups are suggesting. She was not too far behind the leaders, and I think she's run a really good race here for 4th, and she's one that I do want to give another chance to. We weren't on her today, but I think she's one that can certainly win off a handicap mark of 76. So Totnes, I think the race has fallen apart, but she's clearly progressive. She travelled really well, just didn't quite pick up, possibly because they'd gone too hard at the front. Another horse I want to talk about from the 240 at Newmarket is Funny Story, who was having her first run for 231 days. Now her form is now 1-0-1-0-4, and I think she can go 1 next time. Why? So she was beaten by Quinault, who won 2 days ago and made it a 4-timer. Washington Heights, who had previously finished second to Shaquille, who'd gone and won that this race back here, the listed race. And Eminency, who looked a good 2-year-old, had turned up to Windsor, winning a good race, had been involved in all of those, those what are they called? The Weatherby's 300,000 2-year-old stakes and things like that. And Eminence did run well in one of them, and then finished a good third after a comeback run at Kempton. I think that race was quite good. I think the front three were good, but if you watch it, Funny Story travelled best of all. Didn't get the clearest of runs. Came there looking like she was going to go very close, and then just faded right at the finish. Now, she was having her first run, as I said, for 231 days. Washington Heights had run 14 days ago, Eminency 31 days ago, and Quinault 2 days ago. They were all fit. Funny Story, I think, probably needed the run. And I think a few of Rafe Beckett's actually needed the run, including Haskoy, who looked like she was beaten at one point in her race. Star of Orion also came there to challenge Montasib, who we'll speak about later, and then just faded late on. Blue Stocking could say the same as well. We'll come on to that one as well in a minute. So I think Funny Story's effort here was very good, and she's worth adding to your Nagme with a similar race in mind. The next race I want to talk about now, this was an interesting one. Go and watch this race at Wexford, the 250. It's a handicap hurdle. And I was quite interested to see that Doyen for a Drink had come out RTR2 after running 3 duck eggs. Something in our ratings was suggesting that Doyen for a Drink had a chance. And to be honest, she's not been given a good ride at all. She has been held up by Sean Flanagan and never asked for an effort until it was too late. And then when she did, or when Sean did ask an effort from her, she really ran on strongly. And I think she's one that, when they go over 2.5 of her, I think she can win a race. And I mean, she went off 16 to 1 today. If they send her in a similar event and they go 2.5 and she's 16, I'll be having a go on Doyen for a Drink. I think that was a really poor ride from Sean Flanagan. I thought he rode it thinking, well, this horse is rubbish. And then actually she ran a really good race. So she's one from a really low class race that you might be interested in. Moving on to the 3 o'clock at Newbury. As you can see, RTR 1 and 2 finished in the first 2 places. Unfortunately, it was the wrong way round for us. And Exoplanet RTR 4 was 3rd. You can see roughly the right horses were at the front, and I think this race will work out well. And I think this race is where they're going to end up, the Duke of Edinburgh Stakes. Now, who's going to end up in there? So, the reason I say that race, the Duke of Edinburgh, is a 0 to 105. Now, Bold Act was running here off 103. Is the handicapper going to be kind enough and only give him a £2 raise? If he does and he gets in, I actually think there wouldn't be a lot between him and Bertinelli, because Bertinelli's going to go up 4, maybe 5. You won the race, you should go up a little bit more. And yet I thought Bold Act was beaten a lot earlier than Bertinelli looked like he was beaten. I think Bold Act looked like he was beat and yet ran on really strongly, and another few strides and I actually think Bold Act would have got past Bertinelli. The extra trip at Royal Ascot will really suit the 3-year-old, and I think that's where I'd be sending Bold Act, particularly if he gets in, because he's now had enough runs. Bertinelli's only had 3, that would be his 4th run, which might be a bit soon for him, whereas Bold Act, this would be his 7th run, so he's got the experience to cope with the older horses being in the race, and I think it could be very interesting. Off 105 and would get the 3-year-old allowances. So yeah, I think it could be very interesting in the Duke of Edinburgh Stakes, to be honest. Moving on to the 250 now, I'm really hoping that Montasib hasn't blown his mark. So I highlighted this one. This was the frustrating one. 11 to 4 when I started my video, 5 to 2 when I ended my video. So we can only say 5 to 2 because if you didn't see it until afterwards, you could have only got a max of 5 to 2 anyway. Went off 6 to 4, won by a length and a quarter. Didn't look the most straightforward of rides, to be honest. Has he blown his mark? So I highlighted him after finishing 4th at Haydock and said he can win off his handicap mark. But do they want to go and win a small race? They've won a race at Newmarket for 25 grand. Have they ruined their chance in the Buckingham Palace Stakes? I'm saying that, and isn't that a Buckingham Palace Stakes for 3-year-olds only? No, it's not. It's for 3-year-old plus, so that would have been fine. So he could have ran in that. Um, he ran last year in that off 97 and was beaten the length. He won today off 98. Has he potentially ruined his mark? You know, he's going to go up to 100, 102, I reckon. So he'd now be £5 higher than when finishing fifth in the Buckingham Palace. That would be tricky now, I think, for Montasib. They've won a race, but was it worth it? I'm not sure. The next horse that I do think is going to go to Royal Ascot, and do you know what? I want you to go back and watch this race. If there's one race I want you to watch, this is it. Go back and watch the ride on Intelligent from Holly Doyle. I think Holly Doyle deliberately runs into trouble. I think this was not there to win today, and Intelligent has finished a never nearer 6th place off a mark of 105. If the handicapper drops him a pound or two, he could turn up for the Royal Hunt Cup off a lower mark than when he was half a length second last year. He finished half a length second off a mark of 105, the mark he ran off today. And yet I thought he was given a really, really poor ride. I think it looked to me like they were running into trouble deliberately. I mean, the suggestion that he plugged on in some of the write-ups is ridiculous. He was absolutely flying at the finish, having finally got to the near side rail. I know I've already highlighted in my previous video Astro King for the Royal Hunt Cup. You want to put this one down for the Royal Hunt Cup as well. Intelligent. Jane Chapelheim has got to go there with Intelligent, and I'm sure he'll come up in our handicap mock analysis on Tuesday. Yeah, as you can see, Intelligent and Astro King are two that I'm really quite keen on for the Royal Hunt Cup. Moving on to the 4:45 at Newbury, the listed race, the Fillies Trial. So Warm Heart won it, our top rated horse, and you can see that she had run a 140.4, the best effort in the race, coming into this race, and it was a good win. Blue Stocking was the best horse in that race though, wasn't she? Rossa Ryan, I think, rode her a bit too confidently. I think he thought she was going to win comfortably and going away, and you know, on only a second start, he's not given her a too hard a ride. It's towards the end of the race they've got racing. Her and Warm Heart pulled away from Crack of Light. It was only her second run. It was her first run for 233 days, whereas Warm Heart already ran twice this season. I actually think that was a really good effort from Blue Stocking. And bizarrely, the bookies have initially gone Warm Heart, 14s, 10s, 12s, and they've kind of pushed Blue Stocking out in places. I would still have Blue Stocking a shorter price than Warm Heart. Over the longer trip, with that run under her belt, with possibly a bit of a better ride, because, you know, if Rossa gets to ride Blue Stocking, he's going to go all out to win the Oaks. He probably tried to win this a bit snug, and it's backfired for me. Yeah, I think she might have even ended up learning quite a lot in this race by being given a hard race or a strong ride towards the finish. Yeah, I think Blue Stocking is a better value than Warm Heart for this race personally, and I think at 14s and 20s, you know, 16s, 14s, 20s at BetUK, it's a rubbish bookmaker, but you can get 14s comfortably. I actually think that's a decent price for the Oaks personally. I think she will beat Warm Heart, and I thought the way she travelled was really, really good. So definitely don't give up on Blue Stocking if you're on her already, and if you're not, maybe she's worth a small bet in the. And the final horse I wanted the final horse I wanted to talk about was Live in the Moment, who has just been denied by our selection, the Green Man, who won at Doncaster. Now I highlighted this race for the Green Man on the 10th of May. You know, suggested that hopefully he'll be seen next at Doncaster, where his form of 1-3 suggests, of course, he likes and can bounce back. He has liked it. He has bounced back. He has rallied late on to beat Live in the Moment. But I think that just, for me, I then mark up Live in the Moment. So Live in the Moment has dropped from a high of 101 down to 84. Now he's going to go up a couple of pounds for that. And I think the key here with Live in the Moment is you must now target a course that Live in the Moment has run well at. So York or Ascot would be two primary targets for me. Maybe Newmarket. Go to a course that you've done well at, like they did with the Green Man here. It hadn't been working, so they turned up at a course that they knew the Green Man would run well at, and he's run perfectly well. You know, he's gone on to win the race. That's what they need to do with Live in the Moment now as well. So there's some thoughts. If you want to take one horse from this, it would be Intelligent for the Royal Hunt Cup. And if you want a horse that I think will go to a race and probably win quite comfortably, it is Noble Style to the Jersey Stakes. Thanks for listening. Hope you had a few winners today, and I'm sure we'll be back for our handicap analysis on Tuesday.